Welcome to Let's Learn 2024 D&D, where I go over a different rule of the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition in 2024. This is for people looking for a quick rule refresher or looking to get into the game. Today we're talking about ability checks, often referred to colloquially, or however that goes, as skill checks. One of the three types of D20 tests from our previous D20 test video. Let's learn. In order to make this concept easier, I'll provide a list of all the skills characters can choose from when making their character. Then we can roughly go over what they mean along with an example of how it's used. So let's get into them. Athletics. Athletics is the only strength-based skill, and it encompasses the field of things such as making large leaps, swimming in strong currents, or ripping doors off their hinges. A reference to older versions of D&D would be saying your ability to bend bars and lift gates. Acrobatics is a utilization of your dexterity, and it would be what you use when trying to stay balanced across a tightrope or performing some form of nimble feat. A fun example of this for my players is jokingly when they want to show off and do some form of front flip in combat. They always want to do a front flip in combat. It happens. Sleight of hand also utilizes your dexterity, and it is your character's ability to nimbly use their hands. Picking pockets, come on. This could be lifting something off from someone's pocket without their notice or quickly concealing an object. Stealth is the last dexterity skill, and it is your character's ability to remain quiet when they intend to, as well as hiding behind things. Stealth is a skill that is harder for characters in a lot of armor to use because it conveys disadvantage, the mechanic we previously talked about, to their stealth rolls. Before I get into intelligence, I want to include a note about Constitution, as it's the only ability that doesn't have a skill associated with it. Most skills you'll see here are things that your character generally performs, and Constitution is kind of a weird ground because normally the effects that happen to you for Constitution are generally negative, so a lot of the things you need to make saving throw wise or other checks like mechanics called concentration take place with Constitution saving throws. So we'll talk more about that and the concepts of concentration and exhaustion in a future video when we talk about saving throws. Arcana is an intelligence skill check that your character uses the ability to recall information regarding magic or other planes of existence. A fun way to incorporate this skill is having your players, if you're a dungeon master, use their Arcana skill to determine what spells were cast by enemies. History is the next intelligence skill, and it is your character's ability to recall the past, historical events, cultures, or even infrastructure. Investigation is an intelligence skill check that focuses on your character's deductive reasoning or something such as finding something useful when researching in a book, or figuring out how a mechanism of a trap might work. Nature is an intelligence skill about your character's understanding of plants, animals, or their general nature. You might use this skill to discern what type of plants you are looking at or how they can be useful even. Religion is an intelligence skill that your character uses for the interpretation of religious context, understanding the gods or rituals revolving around them, even discerning holy symbols to some extent. Animal handling is a wisdom skill involving the utilization of your ability to influence a creature's emotional state, such as peacefully moving away from an angered mother bear or keeping a horse from being spooked when said mother bear runs at you guys. Insight is your character's ability to discern oddities and individual mannerisms. It's often kind of confused with someone just like a truth detector thing, your ability to tell if someone's lying, but the reality of it is it's your ability to notice people acting nervous or acting out of the ordinary, which is somewhat associated with lying in some cases, but it can be used in other means as well. Medicine is a wisdom skill involving your character's sense of how to handle medical procedures. This is their foresight to know to apply pressure to a wound when someone's injured or how to treat an infection. Perception is your character's physical sense around them, their ability to notice things hidden and utilize the physical senses in their environment. It's like sight, smell, and hearing, basically. Survival is your character's ability to track and utilize the environment they are in to a sustainable degree. This could be finding tracks, gathering, or distinguishing the nature of marks left by a creature. Deception is one of the 4 charisma skills that is simply your character's ability to lie and pull the wool over someone's eyes. Deception checks are often made when your character is trying to blatantly lie to someone else. Intimidation is another charisma skill where you utilize your speech to shake the morale of a creature. This is a skill where I should bring up that there are situations where your character may utilize a different ability score with their skill checks situationally. Performance is a charisma check that involves your character's ability to entertain. This could be playing music at a tavern to entertain people or making a show of yourself in front of a large group of people to create a distraction. Persuasion is your last skill. and that involves your character's ability to influence others around you with your words. You might utilize your character's persuasion to influence an NPC to lower the price of a good you wish to buy. Now that we've talked about the long list of skills out there, let's talk about how it all works in progress. As we have previously talked about, our characters come with 6 ability scores and several proficiencies which we determine when making our character. These proficiencies are with weapons, saving throws, and skills. In regard to our skills, each of them is associated with an ability score from the 6 scores we have. When we make an ability check with one of those skills, we add the ability modifier of the ability score that our skill happens to fall under, as well as the proficiency bonus if we have proficiency in it. Now you might be saying, my guy, that's a lot of stuff to remember. And that is where I can tell you, you don't have to. All those funny little numbers go on a paper called your character sheet. So when a dungeon master asks you to make a deception check, you just look at the spot that says deception, roll a 20-sided dice, and add the number under your deception skill. So one other thing I want to bring up regarding skill checks / ability checks is how we can interchange these abilities with one another on occasion. Assuming your dungeon master tells you to do so or follows the logic you want to try to sell them, an example might involve a fighter who has a very high strength score who wants to intimidate a lowly merchant into giving him a discount. The fighter might not be the most charismatic, but definitely has an imposing, strong figure with a high strength. The dungeon master might let the fighter utilize their strength ability modifier in place of their charisma ability modifier when making the intimidation ability check, despite the fact intimidation would normally use the charisma ability modifier. This is because the skills in Dungeons & Dragons, while associated with certain ability scores, can also probably apply to different ability scores as well. Now, it's not a guarantee every single time that your dungeon master is going to let you do this. Some figures might not be intimidated by your strength. It might take you threatening their family using your charisma score to make a stronger case against them. So keep that in mind that ruling is a little subjective to your dungeon master, but they can approve it if you have a creative idea. Lastly, I want to talk about one niche ability check which falls into a weird limbo. It's called Initiative. Initiative is a type of ability check that you don't normally add your proficiency bonus to and don't normally gain proficiency in. Initiatives use your dexterity modifier in most cases, and that's it. You roll a d20 and add the dexterity modifier. You roll an initiative when you start a combat with a creature or monster. How it works is everyone rolls an initiative, and the dungeon master notes the scores down and organizes the results from highest to lowest. And that is the order in which characters take their turn in combat. And I don't want to go into much more detail with the concept until we go over a combat section, so note that down for later. So with that, thank you all for listening to Let's Learn. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. If there's another topic you want to cover for 2024 Rules of Dungeons & Dragons or have questions about the topic just covered, leave a comment. The point of these are to be more educational and informative to help introduce the game to people that may have not played it before or want to get back into it. All right, thanks guys. Bye.